Hello, warriors. Welcome to the U movement. I am B. And you can see I've made my way to the small little tiny forested area near my house in the local park, and found myself a nice big tree to just sit against and help me ground, because the energy has been really up and down and all over the place and intense, and there's solar flares and there's planets moving, and there's always something happening. And for me, there's been like a real major shift in the last, 2 weeks-ish that I'm still trying to integrate. And stuff is happening at the same time stuff isn't happening. At the same time, I'm taking stock of like all of the shifts and changes that have happened in my life and how opposite everything is in my life now. Like, it's just so weird. It's so weird how many things are just complete opposite polarity to where they were. My likes, my dislikes, my 3D situation. I wrote a post about opposites the other day saying, those that were closest to me, family became strangers and strangers became family. And the things that I once loved, the people that I once loved, are no longer even in my sphere. The things that I once liked, I don't like. I just can't do some of them. The foods, the movies, the fashion, is all in its opposite polarity, and I guess through this process, we are collapsing duality, because I'm seeing both sides of the coin. I'm seeing the feminine and the masculine. I'm seeing the light and the dark. And that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the dark. And this is not really a video I've looked forward to doing. I've known I'm going to have to do it at some stage. And I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I've been putting it off because my own inferiority on the subject, comes into play, because I don't call myself an expert in the world of the dark, by no means. Nor do I call myself really an expert in the world of the light. But I didn't grow up with my gifts all online, and having spent the last 50 years navigating how to work them. A lot of it is new to me, and gifts coming online, you think, or at least I think, I'm going to speak for me most of this video in relation to I and my own personal experience, because I can't speak on what other people are experiencing, and I can't speak on, the common thing, because I don't know what the common thing is. I only know what my experience of the last few years has been. So, let's start, where I was before. As a Reiki Master, I became trained as a Reiki Master I started my training in 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. I did, in Ireland, I did Reiki and Sikkim healing training, levels 1 and 2, and then about a decade later, I completed my training and got my advanced and master's level so that I could become a teacher as well as a practitioner. And I can remember in my courses, because they're all talking about, your gifts and being able to like pick up on subtle energies. And to me, it was always like, I'm trying so hard. what do I feel? What do I feel? And what can I trust? You know, what are these intuitive hits that I'm getting? And, you know, it felt weird and awkward to me because that's around when I started kind of experiencing what symbolic sight was. And I would see things in imagery. And for the most part, it was kind of pleasant, an experience where, you know, I'd be working on a client and I would see, you know, flowers or a specific type of flower, or, you know, and it was all metaphorical. It was all symbols. And you know, I would very sheepishly say to them, because they were always interested, did you see anything when you were working on me? And I'd be like, well, yes, I was seeing constriction here, and I was instructed to pull in some pink ray energy, and, you know, I saw a field of flowers, and I was, you know, and it was just kind of pleasant-ish imagery. Or, you know, if there was congestion in certain areas, I can remember working on one client and it was like all I saw the whole time was like tornadoes going. Like I was doing a lot of work on the head and I'm like, no, I need to go ground this. And so I was intuitively guided because you're learning to start trusting your intuition as a Reiki practitioner. It's also around the time that my clairsentience started to really become noticeable to me, but I didn't fully grasp the extent of my clairsentience. So I am an empath, and I've always been able to kind of pick up on information and sense things, but I spent the majority of my life getting gaslit. So when you're like picking up on something, like, are you upset about something? Is there something bothering you? Oftentimes people will be like, no, I'm fine. Why would you say that? You know, because you're intuitively picking up on information that they'd rather keep private. But I didn't understand how it all worked because I didn't have like Hogwarts School of Wizardry to go to. And my clairsentience, you know, I'd be working on a client and my back would hurt, for example. So I had one client years ago that had cancer of the spine. I worked with a lot of cancer patients. I did both volunteer work and then became a paid employee of a cancer center here in Canada. And I worked with them for about 5 years until I burnt out. And this one client, she had cancer up and down the spine, and I would always make sure she was booked at the end of the day because after I worked on her, I couldn't work on anyone else. So I'd have to go home and have a cleansing bath, which is, you know, your Epsom salts or sea salts, baking soda, some aromatherapies. I've since added some bentonite clay to my bath just for another grounding element to be thrown in there. But my back would be like absolutely mangled. I'd be in so much physical pain. And that's because I absorbed like a sponge, all of her, agony, which of course increased my amount of empathy that I had for her. But it was very uncomfortable. And, through this time when I moved, back to Canada, and was living unbeknownst to me with a narcissistic individual who pretended to be a husband. I didn't realize that whole time, I didn't have the cognitive awareness to realize that I was absorbing all of his energy, and which is why, you know, I more and more look at myself now with clairsentience and empath energy as like a filtration system. And throughout my awakening, it's become more and more sensitive because I've cleared out such a large majority of the blockages. So those of you who have been following me some time know that I was vastly overweight. And I had like every health condition under the sun. It felt like I was just, my filter system was just chock-a-block, full of energetic gunk. Just so much energetic gunk. So you get a little bit of an idea from 2000, from when I started my Reiki training to when I moved to Canada was about 9 years, and I was in very good health and young, vibrant woman. And then I moved to Canada and started my relationship with my ex from 2009 to finally, so that would be, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years, because 2021 is when I asked for my divorce, but I didn't actually get him out of my house until 2022, and then it's been like a process to emotionally purge him and the energy that has been in me for these last few years. So in the last few years, I'm getting more and more clean and more functional as this clairsentient filtration system for other people's energies. And I was very isolated living with him, and because narcissistic people want you all to themselves. You're their source of energy, but you're also their dumping ground to clear off the things. And this may resonate with a lot of other empaths out there that have become over time overweight and unhealthy physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. In all the ways possible, because the job is too big to clear somebody else's crap all the time. And so not only are you trying to fix things on the outside, you're also trying to heal yourself, and it's just too much of a job for one small filter system. So I was completely unawake to the extent that my gifts were playing out in my life. And I call them gifts and raise my hands a little bit because, I thought gifts were going to be like, I would hear other people talk as like, I see auras, I see orbs. And I'm like, why can't I see orbs or auras? I'd love to see some pretty pink energy flowing off somebody. I don't want somebody's kidney stone. So my first taste at understanding or coming to terms with my gifts was being a filter. And filtering others, people's stuff. And then it became the more weight that I lost, and then the cleaner I got. So let's talk about our own responsibility in regards to blocking up and shutting down our heightened gifts, our more subtle energy gifts. I've explained that being raised in a narcissistic environment growing up, any gifts that I would have, and I can see it now, I'm like, oh geez, I must have really been the most irritating child to my mother, who kept because I kept calling out her mean. That's mean. And she'd be like, so the last thing narcissistic people want is to have their shadow elements mirrored back to them, and being the truth teller that I was as a child, as a small child, she wouldn't have liked that. And so that resulted in far worse punishments. The punishments were severe. And so over time, I learned to shut the fuck up and stop calling out the truth. I'd still see the truth, but I would I would greystone. I didn't know that term before, but I know it now. I would greystone and or gray rock, everything's fine. Like, just, I am not going to react. Do not react. So, like, shut down my face if I can. When I've got like a friggin' Jim Carrey face. How hard is that? That's like, it's impossible. But shut down the emotions. Clench the butt cheeks. Stand firm. Stand steady. Lock it all in. Lock and load. Do not expose what you know, because what you know is going to get you into a world of hurt. Do not call it out. Do not call it out. And so that became my first kind of protection and blockage against me and my gifts. So masking and attempting to be unfazed by the things that were going on around me, and any heightened sensitivities I would have would be like, shut up. Do not talk about that, because you're going to get ridiculed. You're going to get raged at. You're going to get spanking. You're going to get, you're going to get some sort of something if you say, I'm feeling hurt, or I'm feeling angry, or I don't think that's right. I laugh, but that's only because of the absolute sheer insanity of it. It's not remotely funny. And then so we grasp and gravitate outwards to find other tools to keep all of that stuff locked in, those hypersensitivities, those gifts. We want to keep that stuff on lockdown. So smoking, drinking, dating, toxic relationships, and became friendships. Lose yourself in other people, pharmaceuticals, SSRIs, and all of those wonderful things that I was on and off throughout my life. Let's try cannabis. Let's try microdosing. Let's try sacred medicines. And I'm going to get into the sacred medicines here for a minute and talk about that, because when my awakening started and Spirit was very clear with the instructions to save myself, and that meant at first starting to deal with the diabetes, I altered the diet. So food as well. Food is a huge one that we use to like swallow it down. Don't say anything. Put up, shut up. We eat your pain away. And so I had to alter my behaviors. When I started altering my behaviors and my body started clearing itself out, I became, at first, it opened the gateways to allow a lot of PTSD symptoms to start arising, anxiety and things like that, like this nervous energy. Like after I lost my best friend, I was a wreck for a while, just like a nervous little, because she was my person. She was my addiction. Of sorts, because she was what I would have considered to be my rock, my anchor, my signpost to tell me which way to go and this and that. And so when that relationship disintegrated, I was that was terrible. And then a year later, my relationship with my mother disintegrated, and then at the same time my relationship with my husband, that was like my person, disintegrated. So all these relationships are disintegrating around me, and I started developing extreme PTSD symptoms in this awakening process. So I was desperately searching for cures and ways to assist with the anxiety and the overwhelming emotions that were purging out of me, because all of a sudden that filtration system that had been previously blocked up was now allowing spurts and flow of energy to release. So lots of purging, lots of grief, and lots of anxiety. So I in my searching for relief out of suffering, I came across sacred medicines as a path that I wanted to try. And I think that it has its place, but I want to make sure that I come on and let you know if I think I did a mistake. Because, and I'm not 100% sure it was a mistake or not a mistake or part of my learning, but I want to express it for what it is, because I want people to know of the potential uh-ohs that could potentially come along on their own spiritual awakening path. So I had developed a friendship with two women, and they were very into the sacred medicines and had a long experience with it. And I thought they were like the coolest thing ever. So I was like, yeah, I'll try this. Sure, I'll try this stuff. So the first sacred medicine that I tried in ceremony was called Aya of some kind, and it was like a snuff that you inhale, and you then do this like meditation. And I can recall the shaman woman specifically saying, now, don't make any major life decisions in the next 15 days. It's going to take time for you to integrate. And, you know, the experience itself was, you know, like I was like, it wasn't like ayahuasca or something, which I had read a lot about, that can be hugely like overwhelming. It was meh. And I was like, okay, this is weird. It's going to take me a little, okay, whatever. 3 days later, I lost my shit and finally managed to get my ex out of the house. He would define me as being possessed on that particular day, because I was like, get the fuck out of my house. Like, you have to understand, I'd been asking him to leave my house for like 10 years. So, you know, trying to end that relationship and having no success. And I had asked for a divorce, in Christmas, just before Christmas of 2021. And now this was, July of 2022. So many months had gone and there was no sign of him leaving. And, yeah, I lost it. I lost it. So, definitely a portal was opened up in me. Was it a bad thing or a good thing? I don't know. I'm going to say both, because one, it gave me the energy that had been so long repressed in me, that sacred rage that came out, and just, you know, for years, as I said, I've been holding all that shit in. And then I was like, get the fuck out of my house. You need to leave. You need to be gone by this weekend. Get out tonight. Come back for your stuff. I mean, like, I lost it. I lost it. And after he left, and he was going to get his stuff later, I was like terrified. I was terrified by this energy that was flowing through me, because I had long ago put rage away. I had long ago, so I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to. I was very overwhelmed. I was beyond overwhelmed. And I was sitting in my room, or pacing, more to the point, and not knowing how to deal with this energy that had obviously been unleashed from me, from whatever, this sacred medicine had like cleared out one of these major blockages energetically. And in a panic, I called my doctor's office. And she could hear that I was speaking to the nurse, and I was asking for a prescription for lorazepam, because I had previously been given that over the years in times of heightened anxiety, and I thought it would help bring me back down. And in my agitation, I wasn't thinking as clearly as obviously, as I had wanted to be. And she asked me the question, are you feeling suicidal? And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling like all kinds of things. And that was the biggest mistake. That was such a big mistake that I made because unbeknownst to me, she sent a signal. And I've said in many of my videos, and listen, I'm going to own the fact that through a large majority of my life, I have felt like death would be better than life. And in those times, I have always sought medical treatment. I have never, except for when I was 15, and very superficially cut my wrists and ended up in a 3-day stay at the Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. And that was because of the abuse that I was enduring. But nothing ever, came from that. And as soon as I was released, life went back to, I was not given access to counseling or anything like that. So through my life, there have been multiple times where I have felt like overwhelmed with the emotion, and then to the point where it's like, I'd rather be dead. Now, thinking I'd rather be dead and acting on making that happen are two radically different things. And unfortunately, I think that the way that the system is set up, we don't really have the best protocols in place for dealing with people that are in this emotion. From my personal experience, I'm going to say that. And a lot of times, the care that you receive isn't care at all. It is the opposite of care. It is not empathetic. It's not compassionate. It's not understanding. It's cold and harsh. So this was a cold, harsh situation because I had said that, in that moment, they took me in and interviewed me at the hospital. And I was still so highly agitated that they decided to admit me for the 3-day stay against my will. Because that's the last place I wanted to be. Where I wanted to be was home, where I felt safe in my bedroom with my comforts and my cat. And the last place I wanted to be was in a room with a mattress on the floor on a 3-day watch. So, for them to treat me like that was horrific and more PTSD inducing. It was not a good situation. And so I learned a very difficult but important lesson, which is to not be honest anymore with the medical community because they don't know how to handle darker emotions. They themselves are coming from a point of view of legality and following policy, and is so not. It's inhumane. Is what it is. It's an inhumane treatment of somebody who is emotionally experiencing overwhelm and extreme confusion. So, I'm calling out the medical community, and I think that a lot of us that are on this awakening journey are here to call it out and to create a bridge, and hopefully in the age of Aquarius, create new policies and new procedures that are far more humane and far more compassionate. To help people transition through learning how to emote, because society as a whole has a war on emotions. So if you have any extreme emotions, nobody knows how to deal with that because it triggers their own discomfort and uncomfortability. Instead of being able to have facilities or safe places, which is why I say, a life dream of mine would be to have a trauma center so that people could come in states of extreme emotion and be held and be shown compassion and be given a hammock to lie in and, be given some support through soft, gentle music and aromatherapy and nutritious foods and love and kindness. I do hope that God is pushing that to happen. I'm just an employee of God now, so I don't know. But I can see in my mind's eye that would certainly be useful because of my own personal experiences to the contrary. And it took a lot of time to recover from that horrific experience. My quest for seeking solutions and for myself didn't end there. And at the time, I was using a lot of cannabis to help calm the PTSD symptoms, and occasionally I would microdose. I wasn't doing it every single day by no means, but the occasional, if it was like a really bad day, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to give myself a little bit to see if I can raise my vibe, be in a higher vibe. And the next up in sacred medicines was Kambo. And Kambo is, and I've done videos in the past on Kambo, and I was singing the praises of Kambo. I'm no longer doing that. As I said, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just going to finally tell the truth about my own personal experiences on this journey, trying to get myself to a place of clear the gunk out. And so Kambo is a sacred frog medicine. That is, they burn your skin, just a small little burn, superficial, just to get through to the one of the under layers of the epidermis, and then they place on this compound that's derived from this frog in South America, and it causes an extreme purge. Like, if you want to purge energy, it's an extreme purge because it causes vomiting and your body to release. So if you're thinking about doing Kambo, do a lot of research on it first. And so I had followed all the protocols a year ahead of time because I had been looking at this for a while, but you can't be on SSRIs or other pharmaceuticals if you're going to do Kambo. You need to clean your system first. So I had done, at least 8 months to withdraw and be off. So I was off all pharmaceuticals. So I'm already getting more sensitive as I'm withdrawing off of the antidepressants. So be aware of antidepressants are like a muffler around your filtration system, a muffler around your gifts. And so when you start to take the muffler off, everything becomes clearer and cleaner and like more, lots more. And the first time I did Kambo, I did a small amount in comparison to some of the other people. You can do it 2 methods. You can do it the dry method or the wet method. The wet method results in like a lot of vomiting. And I did it the dry method. And immediately after, I was channeling and speaking in light language for the first time and, having a fit of sorts, releasing this energy that I can only be described as an ancestral energy. So this was my first time experiencing this, and it was like a French woman who was wailing, crying at the loss of her child, is what I was picking up on this as I'm speaking in light language, and I'm on the ground, like crying my eyes out. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of see where this takes me and go with it. But I didn't talk about this because I was like, I don't know what's happening to me. What is happening? And then that weekend, because it was a weekend retreat, there were other medicines, and then I'm like channeling, and I don't know anything about channeling. I know zero things about channeling. I know about seeing the occasional flowery field. I don't know about becoming embodied with spiritual elements. And in that weekend, stuff happened that was like, so what the fuck from my brain as I was channeling different energies. At one point, I was channeling a jaguar. The energy of a jaguar just came through me, and like I was the jaguar. And then there was a Japanese man that was being channeled through me, and he was healing and clearing stuff in me as I was like puking up energy. It is the only way that I can describe it. Now, listen, I know this sounds crazy because I was there and experiencing it, and to me, it was crazy because I had shut down all of my gifts. So none of this was like, oh, look at the pleasant auras. I feel like a jaguar. No, it was like it was, it was not fairies and orbs and pretty colors. It was terrifying. It was overwhelming, and it was like, I don't know what's happening. But what after this fact is anytime that I would be around people, I started seeing stuff. And more to the point, I started remembering their stuff. And I started experiencing their stuff. And other people's stuff is not nice. It's not pleasant. It's not like I was remembering their 4th birthday party where, no, it was remembering their sexual abuse, and it was remembering their rage that was repressed. And I would start doing healings and clearings for them, unbeknownst to them. And there were so many weird situations that it was very hard for me to integrate all of the weird things and scary things. For example, I took my kids to go see a musical, and for whatever reason, Spirit was like, you need to go to this restaurant. And I was like, we're eating at this restaurant. And it was a weird restaurant, and the kids were all like, why the fuck are we eating here? This place is weird. And I'm like, I don't know, it's going to be good. Like, it was like I was just directed there. Like, I had no choice in the matter. And our waitress was from Eastern Europe somewhere. And all of a sudden, I'm having anxiety attacks and had to run to the bathroom. And I'm lying on the bathroom floor in a public restaurant and trying to ground this energy as much as I can that's flowing through me, because I am seeing and feeling what she saw and experienced, and it wasn't good. It was horrific. It was horrors. And these types of situations continued, and I tried Cambo a couple more times to see if that would help, but it only ever made me more open. So it did. And I tried other sacred medicines that, again, only made me more open and opened the door to things I didn't want to see or know about. I had walk-in experiences of other souls coming to be with me that needed to go to the light, but I didn't know how to send them to the light. I'd never... Listen, I've watched that show on TV a couple of times with that pretty actress that was like, just go to the light, That wasn't me. Like, I didn't know how to be that person. I didn't know the rules of how to do things and how not to do things. I didn't know, like, dark energies, dark entities, spiritual warfare. I didn't know any of this stuff. Like, I didn't know. So, it's a warning to you to be aware that when you start dabbling in sacred medicines and you start letting go of your buffers, your mufflers, your paddings, all your tools that you use to repress all your gifts, so all the substances, all the crappy foods, all the crappy people, when you start to release and become a clear conduit for it's like putting a bright light on in the middle of an open field and then wondering why you're surrounded by moths. So it became imperative. Sorry, my butt is starting to freeze a little bit, but that's okay. It became imperative for me to double down on spiritual hygiene and to learn more effective clearing practices, more effective alchemization practices, more effective transmutation, grounding, sending energy into a light portal that you would create, is one of the things that I do when I'm sensing that there's negative energies coming at me. Because, I tried everything. There were some nights that I know I was just surrounded by darkness, and I would be curled into the fetal position and praying for 12 solid hours. Praying, dear God, please protect me. Dear Michael, please protect me. And calling outside of myself for everything. Every angel under the sun I was calling at for protection. And it wasn't until I watched Carolyn Lope's video, which I highly recommend, on dark energies and dark entities. So that's Christina Lope's video on dark energies, and she talks about how you need to become empowered. So instead of reaching outside of yourself for everything, I'm reaching outside of myself for the sage. I'm reaching outside of myself for the crystals. I'm reaching outside of myself for this, for that, which is only disempowering me more. And it wasn't until I got into my own power and was like, get the fuck in the light. And that's literally how that went down, that conversation with that spirit that was with me. So my message to you is, on this spiritual awakening path, as you become more heightened to energy, all energies, you're going to experience the light, but you're also going to experience the dark. And you need to realize that you are the power source. You are a self-contained unit that has the capacity, and it's terrifying, to learn to transmute your own fear so that you can step into your own power, and say, I am creating a portal of light. I am sending you into the light. I am clearing this energy. I still use sage because it's nice and stuff like that, but ultimately it is me. It is my intention. It is, whether I had the sage there with me or not, if I just walked around my house and was like, I clear this, I clear this, I clear this, I call in the Holy Spirit, I call in the divine, I call in the power that is within me, because I am those things. Sorry, I'm getting up. My butt froze. I call in those energies. So I do, so that I can be in my greatest power. Sorry, I'm going to just move myself over here and sit on this log. And maybe it's a little less chilly a little less chilly than the direct snow. So the more you practice being in your power, I am the power. I am the one that dictates what energies can come near me and what energies must be transmuted back into the light, and saying no. And so, on this spiritual path, there's a lot of information out there that almost makes you less empowered. You need to do this incantation. You need to say these specific words. You need to call on this specific person. You need to, anything outside of yourself, just question, am I giving the power to the crystal, or is the crystal empowering me? Am I giving the power to the Bible, or is the Bible empowering me? Anything outside of ourselves is like a training wheel to bring us back to the energy that is within, And listen, I get it. I spent countless nights hugging my Bible that I bought. Like hugging it. It was my new teddy to keep myself safe. And I have learned over the last, so this is like 3 years now, that ultimately I don't need anything outside of me. I need me. I need the energy that is within me. If Holy Spirit is all around me, and with each breath I'm bringing in the Holy Spirit, then I too am part of the Holy Spirit. I am not separate from it. So the power source is not separate from me. It is in me and all around me. So I can call on what is around me to help empower me and fill me up, fill my energy source. And that's why breath work, really, at the end of the day, I think is probably one of the most powerful healing modalities that you can do, because it's a constant connection to it is allowing you to be connected to everything that is outside of you. And with each breath, it's like I'm filling myself with Holy Spirit that is in everything. I am releasing everything that is not in my highest and greatest good. I am, filling myself up with power. I am releasing the fear, and whatever kind of words you want to use to help facilitate you on this path, the better. Because my path got darker before it got lighter. It got much darker, and those were the beginnings, and then it got really dark. It got very, very dark when and I also had to learn to shield and clear, as I was saying, because for a stretch there was things that I was experiencing that still to this day I don't fully understand, and I don't understand what I was seeing fully. I was having horrific visions, and so visions again aren't something that it sounds like something you would like to have. I'd like to have visions of lotto numbers, but I wasn't having those kind of visions. My visions were horrific, and I didn't know if these were repressed memories, if these were past life memories, if these were somebody else's memories, but I was living them. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I remember what I ate yesterday. No, it was like physically I was shaking and experiencing the terror, the abject terror that myself or whoever's energy this was that I was being sent to me to heal and to clear, it was terrifying, and I began getting exceptionally paranoid, and it was like two realities are at play at the same time for me now sometimes. It's like I'll see what's happening in my physical and look around and go, okay. And then I see something that's like, now I'm going to describe as like kind of like 5 feet above people. It's not really 5 feet above people, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that there's like another stuff, a darkness. And so I'll be talking to somebody and I can see that that's a hard no. Got to get away from this person. There's a lot of negative energy around them, influencing them. I've been around people where I've just gone into the throes of psychic surgery and healings. And psychic surgery is when I first learned this in as a Reiki practitioner. You know, energetically, it's clearing and doing work on the etheric, and it. To others, it might look really odd what I'm doing. I have no doubt. For example, I was at a women's talking circle and a woman was speaking, and what she was talking about was not what was energetically bothering her. I think she was talking a little bit about how she's feeling mildly irritated, and it was not mild irritation. It was outright rage, and I could see her childhood sexual assaults happening, and I had to turn around and leave, turn my back to the circle, and as I did, I opened my mouth, and it was like I was breathing out, or puking out, more to the point, red fire ants. And, that's weird. So spiritual gifts coming along a line can feel very weird. I would be bawling, crying as I'm releasing other people's stuff. Now, I'm not going up to them and going, oh, by the way, it's lovely to meet you. So I cleared some stuff for you. No, I don't go and do that. It's more embarrassing as anything to me, because I'm like, I don't want people to see me doing this stuff. It's weird. Because it's weird to me. It was way beyond my comfort level as a healer. Now, listen, I am aware that I am a healer, but integrating that reality and transmuting energy and clearing stuff and being a light worker and being a starseed all take time to integrate into your world, so that you can become empowered. And the fear that I have experienced through all of this has been unreal. Absolutely unreal. So grounding is a necessary component part on this awakening path, especially if you happen to be on a shaman's initiation, which is kind of what I'm going through. Exactly what I'm going through. If you think you are on a shaman's initiation where you are being called to do healing work or spiritual teaching, or sit in front of a camera on YouTube and share your truths with others, then please read The Stormy Search for Self by the Groffs. It was very comforting when I thought that I was going insane, or when I couldn't understand the difference between what I'm seeing and hearing and what I'm seeing and hearing. Yeah, two realities happening at the same time, and that's overwhelming. So we cannot, I want to leave you with, we cannot be in the light. We cannot accept there is light without accepting that there is darkness too. And equally, and I tried to pretend life was just all light all the time, right? Love and light, back when I was woke. I'm not woke no more. But that's a stage. That's a stage on your spiritual awakening path. You first go through your first awakening, and you think you're so woke because you start to see things in the world that don't add up anymore, and you're like, yeah, I was woke for a really long time, and now I'm not woke no more. Now I don't even know what I am because I've been going through this insane Kundalini awakening, and that's brought me to a whole new reality where life is not all love and light all the time. Life is shadow. Life is darkness. Life is depression. Life is dark. And unless we learn as light workers how to navigate the dark, our role is kind of useless. Nobody needs a light in the middle of a bright sunny day. Where they need the light is in the dark places, in the shadowy places, and we are sequestered. We're put into our isolation. We're put into for our own protection, to help us master the skills of the dark. The dark. We have to master the depression. We have to master the fear. We have to master the spiritual gifts and learn how to. So think of it as like you're Batman and you're on the top of that mountain there and you're in training. You're learning how to, before you go back to Gotham and be the good in the bad, right? First, he had to go train. So as spiritual warriors, this is our training ground. While we are hermited in isolation and learning hard lessons of maybe don't open those portals too quickly. If you think it's going to be a quick fix, if you think you can bypass to some happier state of being without going through the dark stuff and facing the demons and when I say demons, I'm not talking about some movie interpretation of that, but I firmly know that there are demons now. If there are angels, there are demons. If there is good energy, there is some less than pleasant energy out there. So I'm no longer denying. You got it. My battery ran out. It doesn't suit Canadian weathers. What I was saying was we need along this path to learn to balance light and dark energies, to navigate through both. I can remember when after my Kundalini, coming to the realization that, I am the light. I am the light. And that was a huge revelation for me, because I'd spent most of my life believing that I was, trash and in the dark and depressed and so when I had that realization that I am the light, so that was a powerful moment for me. And then along this journey, realizing that I am the one that ultimately can overpower the darker energies. And sometimes those darker energies are coming from your own thoughts. And I think some people refer to that as spiritual warfare, or, it's like energies are around you and on this, you're hearing such horrible things. And when I say hearing, I don't mean as in hearing voices, although I have heard voices. When my clairaudience began, as I said, in one of that phases, and this would be, really the darkest depths of my spiritual awakening. At one stage, I was hearing what sounded like a recording, repeating the same sentence over and over again. That was very disturbing, exceptionally disturbing. And I still, as I said, there's a lot of this I still need to unpack myself. But what in the unpacking and the integrating and the accepting and the new levels of awareness, what I have come to learn is that One, it doesn't 100% matter whether you understand the messages or not, because in the 3D reality that we used to live in, we used to take things very literally. At least I did, and maybe that's my autistic brain. And when symbolic sight is trying to communicate to you, or spirit is trying to communicate to you, and we try to put literal meanings on metaphorical messages, that's when there can be a complete and utter disconnect. And when we try to know everything, we won't. And it's okay to let that go. The number one thing, no matter what you're facing as these gifts come online, that, as I say, is very scary, is, are you safe here in the now? Are you safe? Look around your room. Are you safe? Are you safe in your body? Cultivating safety has been paramount for me for the last 2 years, is cultivating safety and facing the fears as they come and processing through these fear purges. And purging grief is one thing. I could do that easily now. Like, seriously, it means nothing to me. I'm not scared of tears anymore. I'm not scared of feeling sad. I'm not scared of feeling lonely. But scared of feeling the fear and the darkness and the overwhelm and the confusion and the paranoia and the, what is going on in the world? What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Because there's one reality happening, there's another reality happening, and there's multiple realities happening. And when you're drifting in and out between the dimensions, it can be crazy making. And I think it makes it even more crazy making to try to understand everything. Let go of understanding and just say, okay, I'm going to chalk this one up to a weird, or I'm going to chalk this one up to like an interesting synchronicity, or I'm going to chalk this one up to a lesson. You'll understand when you need to understand. You'll get the ahas when you need to understand. What you need to understand now is all of these are trainings to bring ourselves back into the present moment, into our body, into safety, into presence. So I had this vision. What does it mean? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? I don't know. Doesn't matter. I am here now. I am here now today. Today I am safe. I am safe in my body. I'm wiggling my toes. I'm touching my arms. I'm touching my face. I am here now. I have been put here for a reason. This is where I'm supposed to be for whatever reason, even though my ego might fight it. I am here now. I am safe. I am in seclusion and I don't understand why, and my ego wants to go out, and I'm finding criticisms in this, and there's all this mental chatter. We need to silence the mental chatter and the desperation of the ego to understand everything that's happening at all times. We need to all we need to understand is these four walls, this air, this body, this now. Be in the now as much as possible. So to recap, if you've managed to make it through all of this crazy video, I'm sending out a warning. Ultimately, this is your spiritual awakening. I don't want to be your guru. I don't want to be anybody's guru. The day of the guru is done. You are your own guru. You are your own warrior. You are your own lead. So if you are called to go and learn some things, and some lessons may be learning the hard way, like I did, but at least this way, I'm giving you a little bit of forewarning to say, hey, if you decide to go down the path of sacred medicines, this might happen to you. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not saying it's not. Lots of people have like super awesome experiences with sacred medicines. And lots of people have super awesome experiences with cannabis. I used to too. I used to think cannabis was a miracle cure and made me feel a million times better and lifted me up from here to here. But the problem is we are ascending. And that's not necessarily a problem, but when we are ascending, the medicines that we once used to help us ascend from here to here, once you get here, if you go back and do these medicines that are down here, they're going to pull you down. You know, medicines aren't a life sentence. They're supposed to help lift you from here to here. So even, you know, pharmaceutical medicines, if you cure yourself of the diabetes, yet you continue to take insulin or metformin, then you're going to have an imbalance. So once you regulate yourself in your own spiritual balancing, you no longer should go back down and hold on to older medicines, because what I found is holding on to these medicines that brought me from here to here, which was good, yay, not depressed anymore up here, but now in the fear energies, in the yellow vibrational energies, they aren't working for me. They're making me worse. They're pulling me down because they are making the panic worse. They're making the paranoia worse. They're making these things worse. So just because a medicine worked for you last year or 10 years ago doesn't mean it's going to necessarily work for you as you become hypersensitive. As we raise our vibrational frequency, we're going to move out of being able to use certain tools that we once used. So down here, we use the tools of smoking. Hey, they worked great. That was fantastic. I loved cigarettes. I absolutely loved it. They don't work for me anymore because I moved myself up out of that. And now, okay, the vibration of alcohol doesn't work for me anymore. It's at this vibration. I'm up here. The vibration of cannabis doesn't work for me anymore. It brings me down into a fearful energy when I'm trying to escape out of that fearful energy. And more, you're going to find that tools and strategies that once worked won't work anymore. So it's not like I'm saying to people, don't do these things. Do whatever you want to do. Just no skin off my nose. Do whatever you want to do, but be forewarned that when you are on a Kundalini awakening, Kundalini may reject. Kundalini may exacerbate your symptoms so that you let go of holding on to things outside of yourself so that you can come back to the empowerment that is inside of yourself. The breath, your own breath, is so powerful. That is the best medicine. Air, sunlight, sitting by a tree and grounding. So using the natural world around you. And yes, cannabis is natural. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying it may not be something that works for you at some stage of your awakening. And sacred medicines may have helped facilitate people from this consciousness up into this consciousness in 20 years ago, 50 years ago, last week. But once you ascend out of that energy and you go back down and try to use something, it may make things worse. It also may open your channels too fast, too quickly, too fast, and create a whole bunch of symptoms that come along with it that are rather unpleasant. So an awakening journey isn't pleasant. It is light. It is dark. It is learning hard lessons and how to navigate yourself through the world on multi-dimensions all at the same time, interacting with energies that you thought yourself separated from, this collective consciousness. It is overwhelming. It's not like sitting around singing Kumbaya going, we are one. No, it's like, oh my God, I'm feeling your heart pain. And oh my God, I'm feeling your rage. And oh my God, I'm experiencing your craving for pasta right now. Like there can be, it can go into the wild and wonderful experiences. Maybe I should do a video on all the weird, like the super weird that I've experienced, because that's true as well. I've felt other people's hangovers. That's not fun. I don't want to feel that. I've felt other people's highs when they're on things. I felt other people's panic, paranoia, all kinds of things. So differentiating what is mine and what is others becomes, it doesn't matter whose it is. It's in me now, and I got to deal with it. So I got to ground, I got to shield, I got to clear, I got to cut cords, I got to purify, I got to purge, I got to do all my spiritual hygiene and do it routinely. Every day I need to, sit in prayer every day. That's why I do love getting out walking when the weather is nice, because it's a way to connect to ground energy. And when I'm out walking, my whole walking has changed as well. Before I used to be all about, alignment and getting, some groove on. Now I'm all about grounding. The center of gravity has lowered. My knees, there's a little bit more bend in them as I'm visualizing lights and roots, red energy going all the way down, seeping into the earth. And not just roots, but spinning and wrapping itself around the core of the earth so that I'm grounded. I am so grounded. I am just going to be the most grounded I can possibly be. And then I'm also connecting to divine source energy through the light. And, please guide, please show me the way. Please, in this present moment, what's the next? That's all I need to worry about. I need to worry about the now and then the next now. And that's as far as I go into the future. So dreams are wonderful. Visions can be terrifying. Maybe things will manifest, maybe they won't. I don't know. It's God's plan. I'm just doing what I'm told. And what I'm told is, right now, do this. And then the next now, do that. If you have any questions for me, or would like to book with me to have somebody hold space for you to express some of your weirder and darker and scarier stuff, I can do that for you. It has been a common theme amongst a lot of my clients, trying to understand things that defy our old reasoning. And that's the point. We're moving out of the old, and we're moving into a whole new consciousness. And so it's going to be confusing. So if you would like to book with me, I book by the hour, the 2 hour or 3 hour, so we can do deep dive into some of this stuff. And I have price points for 3 price points for people, so it would fit your budget. So send me off an email. Let me know that it's an intuitive counseling session that you're wanting to book. Let me know the length of time you would like to book for, and I will send you off my PayPal link for a donation, and then we can set up a time to discuss some of the stuff, and I can help facilitate you in some tools and strategies to help you navigate through some of the scarier stuff. Thank you for everybody who sends in the donations and even the $2 supers. I really greatly appreciate that. It's been a struggle for me to figure out financially where I'm going on my own spiritual awakening. My ego balks at a lot of the choices that Spirit is pushing me to do, but I really want to hope that I can continue to offer my services via donation, and offer my channel, and offer my oracles reads to all of you out there, and sustain that in this way. I've always believed in people over profits. I've always believed that our monetary system is rigged. And I'd like to go back to or start a new Age of Aquarius way of doing things. And the only way to build something new is to do something different. And so I come hoping to create this You movement and turn it into a nonprofit organization of some kind that is going to hopefully at some point in the future help more and more people. I would like to help as many people as I possibly can, and how that manifests exactly, I don't know. I'm just an employee of God's, and that's above my pay grade. So as I said, all I can do is right now, of course, see, my ego goes, oh, but. So learn through my crazy. And thank you as well for all the feedback that I've been getting lately. You know, when I hear that my messages are actually helping somebody, it calms and soothes my soul and my ego as well. It's like, it's okay. See, you're making a difference. You're doing okay. It's okay. Because this has been a very trying journey for me. So by me sharing, knowing that I'm actually helping people, like seriously, your feedback, your comments, your messages that you send out, it's just, I'm blown away. I'm blown away in gratitude. I'm absolutely blown away. So with that all said, it was a very long video, but I wanted to hop on and do an ending, and we'll see what the next now brings. Peace out.